Welcome back, Duelists. Casual Duelist here, and as I said earlier on our pack opening and giveaway announcement video, I have a Gravekeepers deck profile. Now, something that's going to make this one a little bit special, this is actually one of my teammates' decks that he's actually currently playing, and it is hilarious, and it's got a lockdown and a cool tech card, and it's not anywhere close to being quote-unquote budget. There are some pretty expensive characters in the side deck. So let's start talking about his build. So if you guys are not familiar with Dark Magician, then prepare to spend about $100 so that you can run Dragoon. Because that's what's going to happen there. So we're going to have the one Dark Magician. He techs in the one Gravekeeper's Assailant, 2 copies Commandant, and as you can tell, my friend is all about the foil. He loves it. We do run the single copy Descendant, 3 copies Headman, 1 copy Oracle, and I've asked him not to, but he just refuses to, and every time I say that, he plays me and then uses it against me, and it's usually pretty good. Again, we're going to run triple Recruiter, triple Spiritualist, and round out the monsters with a single Red Eyes Black Dragon. The spell cards is going to be double Allure of Darkness, single Gravekeeper Steel, 2 copies Hidden Temples of Necro Valley, 3 copies of Necro Valley, the 3 copies of Necro Valley Throne, the single Raigek Key, I hope I did that right once, single Red Eyes Fusion, 3 copies Royal Tribute, trap cards, 3 copies Imperial Tombs of Necro Valley. I suppose it's an interior shot, guys. If we get real close up, it looks like some hieroglyphs on a wall. But 1 Necro Valley Temple, 2 copies Rite of Spirit, and rounding it out with 3 copies Solemn Strike. So that is a 41 card deck for the main, 15 cards on the side, the single copy Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, the 3 copies Gravekeepers Supernaturalist, the single copy Quintet Magician, 1 number 39 Utopia, 1 number S39 Utopia the Lightning, 1 Apollosa Bow the Goddess, 1 Boral Sword Dragon, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Predaplant Verde Anaconda, and 1 copy Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. So, if you guys were here just for the deck profile, just a list, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Doing something a little different right now. I will be following this video up with just a video talking about just the combos for anybody who doesn't want to see the reasoning section, where I literally go back through the whole deck slowly. And I'll just highlight the best combos in a shorter, probably about 10-minute video. So we're going to do that. But you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. If it helped you, consider hitting subscribe. Let your friends know if you've enjoyed any of the content on the channel. I've got plenty of other videos. There's a ton of other crazy cool videos on YouTube you could be watching. Go enjoy one of those, and you have a great day. Everybody else, let's talk about our deck list now. So, real quick, the 1 Dark Magician. And again, all he is a name. We just need to be able to use him to put together Dragoon. The 1 Gravekeeper's Assailant. Wallace has Necro Valley face up on the field. It's not only going to gain the power bonus of the 500/500 that all Gravekeepers do, it will also be able to, when it attacks, target one face-up monster the opponent controls and change that monster's battle position. Now, Link monsters will, of course, be immune to this effect due to the fact that they only have an attack value and they cannot exist in defense mode. But you can still change a different monster's attack position, not just the one that you're attacking. So you can definitely run into a Link monster while sitting somebody else. It's very good. Commandant, he has the 2 copies, and of course his are ultimate rares because he's got all the foil for these guys. He's loved this deck since its debut. And what we have here is the only non-dark attribute Gravekeeper card. And I do believe that that is once you take out Charm of Shabti and maybe the Owl of Luck. But definitely the only one that's Earth while being Gravekeepers in name. and this is just a fetch character. This is going to help us go ahead and tutor up our field spell. You will notice that we did not use terraforming this time, and that's because Throne is able to tutor any Gravekeeper's monster from deck to hand, and that means that there's 3 copies of Throne, 2 copies of Commandant, so you've got 5 copies of Commandant, and copies of Commandant are copies of Necro Valley, which you already have 3, so now we have 8 copies. Yeah, we did not need terraforming in this build. This is one of those field spell decks where it just gets away with just getting its field spell 2 consistently, and for us that's going to be great. And again, he will get up to 2100 when he's under Valley as a monster. Not as often as you think, though. We're just going to throw him away most of the time. We are going to be using the single copy Descendant. Again, this character has the effect, I contribute one of my other face-up Gravekeeper monsters and target 1 card the opponent controls and destroy that. I'm not sure if this has been errated since then to be a once per turn effect, or if this is just as long as I have enough monsters to fuel the effect, I can just keep going. He will become 2k once the field spell is active, and it pairs off very good with Recruiter. Next up is Headman, and we will be running 3 copies. This guy is one of our best starters for a combination play. When this card is summoned, you target 1 level 4 Gravekeepers in the graveyard. Special summon it in either attack or face down defense. You can use this effect only once per turn, so it is a hard once per turn for Headmans. And the effect is unaffected by Necro Valley, and it needs to say that because of the way Necro Valley is worded. We'll get there in just a little bit. But this character is really going to let us jump into our extra deck in quite the big way. So we did want to maximize him. We did need to play 3. Next up is my friend's favorite tech card, the Gravekeeper's Oracle. And I believe we just used this guy in speed duels not that long ago. And the same thing is going to apply. We can either tribute summon this character by using 3 monsters or a single Gravekeeper. And then we can choose an effect or choose to play all 3 effects based on the number that we actually tributed for. So the first effect would be that this card will gain attack equal to the combined levels of all monsters that were tributed to create him. And it's levels times 100. So if it's 3 4s, it's 12. It'd be an extra 1200. Just simple. The second effect, which is what I get hit with a lot when he's playing against me, is destroy all set monsters your opponent controls. Again, when I'm goofing around and I'm testing defensive decks, I do tend to go to defense a lot, and that'll mess me up. And then the one where he overpowers me, which, again, this is the more often than not, all monsters the opponent currently control lose 2,000 attack and defense, and it is so frustrating to have a large board and not be able to stop Oracle from just draining all the power out of my side of the field. And then just watching him just, slap me around with that cane of his. So, good card, great card. And when we talk about the Supernaturalist later, you can understand that having a nice 10-star in the deck is going to help out in spades. So that is amazing. We do have the 3 copies of Recruiter, also kind of like a staple for this deck. When this card that you control is sent from field to the graveyard, you add 1 Gravekeeper's monster with 1,500 or less defense from the deck to the hand. Again, this would pair off with Tribute Summoning for the Oracle that we just saw. Or you use it with Descendant to start, sniping off your opponent's cards. And again, this will allow us to play Headman, and then Headman will get back our Recruiter, and then we'll be able to use the Recruiter when we go and use it for Link. And again, we just generate more advantage by building our hand back up. So Recruiter's definitely a necessity at 3. Spiritualist, second to last monster card here. This 4-star will also get up to the 2k once we have our field spell. During the main phase, if Necro Valley is on the field, and it should always be since we technically have 8 copies, you can fusion summon 1 spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck using this card you control and other monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. This effect can only be used once per turn. Now, the beautiful thing is, this means that one can play Supernaturalist with a lot of ease. The thing that really gets me, though, is you can really play Quintet Magician, and should you be able to play 5 different named spellcasters because of this, you get to destroy every card your opponent controls. So that's a thing, guys. And that's a thing that has happened a few times during playtests. So Spiritualist, good card, great card. And of course, you can't play Dragoon if you don't have the red eyes. So that'll round out our monsters one more time. The spells, we need the 2 copies Allure of Darkness. Draw 2 cards and banish a dark from your hand. And if you fail to, discard the entire hand. Again, we've only got, 2 non-darks, and those are the Commandants. So if you've only got Commandant in your hand, you're obviously not going to be playing that. The 1 steal, target 2 Gravekeeper monsters in the graveyard and return those targets to your hand. This is unaffected by Necker Valley, so again, we don't have to unlock it the way we used to with Chief in order to get that. 2 seemed to be too many. 1 was really hitting in the sweet spot, and we're already playing a 41-card main deck, so we didn't want to stretch it too thin. The next card, really one of the better setup cards here, is Hidden Temples of Necker Valley. Now, what makes this so good is activate this only if you control Gravekeeper monster plus the field spell, Necker Valley, and neither player can special summon monsters except the Gravekeepers. So again, if we can power out and get Dragoon or Quintet Magician first, we can establish the dominance before we lock down the special summoning. And this is going to cripple decks all across the board and is very hard to come back from. And with back row hatred being mostly in the sideboards, this means that we will be able to take game 1 relatively easily, and then, of course, adjust for games 2 and 3 accordingly. The drawback here, if either a Gravekeeper's monster or Necker Valley is not on the field for any length of time, you would then destroy this continuous spell card. So, does come at a bit of a cost, but not that bad. Next up, we have the infamous field spell, which apparently with these ultimates looks all dark on the screen right now. So that is the ultimate rare Necker Valley. All Gravekeeper monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in either player's graveyard cannot be banished, and negate any card effect that would move a card in the graveyard other than itself to a different place. And I believe this is the most up-to-date wording for Necker Valley, because the old ones used to be a bit longer and a bit of a mouthful. And again, this is going to help us again, because again, if your opponent can't recycle the graveyard, they can't be special summoning back out of the graveyard. This makes things infinitely harder for them to loop on you. Next up, we got the Necker Valley Thrones. We're going to run 3 of those. You get to choose one of the effects, and you can only activate 1 copy of this spell per turn. First effect is the one we use most often. Add a Gravekeeper's monster from deck to hand. However, I've had the second one used on me to quite great effect before, and that is you can play this and use this as a double summon spell for your Gravekeepers. You can immediately normal summon another Gravekeeper. So I've been hit with the, haha, I'm going to summon a card. Okay, that's fine, whatever. Okay, now I'm going to play Throne. Okay. Okay, well, now I'm going to play the big guy. I'm going to play Oracle, and I'm going to weaken all your guys. Haha. Whap. Okay. So that's fun. Raigeki. Simple. Couldn't really use Monster Reborn as an extender, so let's use Raigeki to break the opponent's monster boards. Again, when you're facing big things like Appaloosa, Appaloosa can negate a monster's effect, but it cannot touch spell traps. We do need this single copy of Red Eye's Fusion in order to instigate the Red Eye's Dark Dragoon and go for that. And again, since we're using the Verde Anaconda, we can consistently drop this to a single copy, and this will still let us use cards from our hand as well as the deck in order to conduct our summon. One of the best cards that the Gravekeepers have is one of the ones that kills almost every loop in the game and takes out hand traps simultaneously, which is why we chose not to play hand traps for this build, and that is Royal Tribute. So as long as you control Necker Valley, both players have to discard all monsters in their hands. And again, I don't think that there's a hand trap that stops that. So you have to straight up negate a spell trap. And again, if you're not playing Heralds, I don't know how you're going to do that. So, Royal Tribute for the win. The rest is all of our traps. Again, it's more control-oriented. So we have the 3 Imperial Tombs of Necro Valley. See, I got it right. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated while you have a Gravekeeper monster plus Necro Valley on the field, negate the activation, and if you do destroy the card, you're only allowed to activate one of these per turn. It's a non-life payment, almost a Nomni negate. The only thing it's not going to stop is special summons. But again, we have the 3 strikes to do that. We just need to make sure that we keep our field set up. We do have the single copy Necro Valley Temple. Now, what makes this so good is it's going to do the opposite of Necro Valley to every non-Gravekeeper. So, while a Gravekeeper's monsters, and/or Necro Valley are both on the field, monsters the opponent control lose 500 attack and defense immediately. So again, we gain 500, they lose 500. It's a good 1,000-point destabilization of the field. And even just as an aggressive beatdown, this makes the deck even better. Second effect, even better than the first. Once per turn during the main phase, if you control no card in your field zone, you can activate Necro Valley directly from either the hand or the graveyard. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's effect and sent to the graveyard, you can set 1 Necro Valley spell trap directly from the deck except Temple. So you can set Imperial Tombs because you wanted to. You could set the Throne because you want to tutor. Get fun. Just have fun with it. Again, 1 because of the space. In lieu of Monster Reborn, we are using Rite of Spirits. This will allow us to select any 1 Gravekeeper monster in the graveyard and special summon it back. The effect and activation are unaffected by our field spell. And again, this will help set us up in later turns once we've already got our control and our lock established, and allows us to play out of various situations there. Last up, Strike. You guys know I don't go anywhere without playing 3 strikes. Again, stop the hand traps, stop the monster effects, stop the special summons, 1,500 points, cheap price. So again, there's your main deck. Real quick, we got the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Dark Magician plus the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target this card with card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 monster your opponent controls, and if you do inflict damage to the opponent equal to the monster's original attack, and you could do this the amount of times equal to the normal monsters that you used. In this case, again, that's always going to be 2. And then once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, discard a card, negate the activation. If you do, destroy the card. And if you were able to destroy the card, then this card will gain a permanent 1,000-point bonus. So that's pretty good. Again, Supernaturalist 3, 2 Gravekeeper monsters, very vanilla. And again, Headman for throwing away Spiritualist can get you right into Supernaturalist. Gains attack and defense equal to the combined original levels of the materials used for the fusion summon times 100. And again, just by having Oracle in your deck, that's immediately 1,000 points right there. That brings this guy up to a boss stat of 3k plus your field spell for 35, not counting your Spiritualist, which was also 4 for 39. So just shy of Obelisk the Tormentor's stat. And pretty fantastic if you ask me. While Necro Valley is on the field, this card and any card in your field zone may not be destroyed by card effects. So we are going to protect Necro Valley. And since we've protected the Necro Valley, that's going to make it a lot harder for them to play through the hidden temples. During the main phase, activate this effect. During the end phase of the turn that you activated this effect, add 1 Gravekeeper's monster or Necro Valley card from deck to hand. And you can only use this once per turn. And again, you can either like pull back Recruiter because you got a plan for him. You can pull back the Headman because you want to reborn somebody back from the discard pile freely and start link building. You can grab your Throne because you just want to pick a specific card. You can grab your Counter Trap because you wanted to. Or he could set up your Hidden Temple of the Necro Valley himself. So very versatile and surprisingly unfoiled. I just don't think they've come out with a more foiled version yet. Again, Quintet, kind of the tech card choice this time. 5 spellcasters must be fusion summoned. If it's fusion summoned using 5 spellcasters with different names, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Static effect, this face-up card on the field cannot be tributed nor used as fusion material, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. And again, having a huge boss stat of 45 by 45. This is more of a for fun card in here, and obviously if you guys don't want to play it, you don't have to. That'd be fine. The Utopia and Utopia Lightning. Simple play, you just go to Utopia, then you want to go ahead and stack Lightning on it. Once you have Lightning on there, you get the following effect. If this card battles an opponent, if this card battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step, and once per chain during damage calculation if battling an opponent's monster. While this has a Utopia Xyz monsters material, you can detach 2 materials, and the attack will become 5k during that damage calculation. So again, we're kind of getting the Ancient Gear protection while having an optionable pump. So very cool. Real quick, Apollosa, Link 4. We're just trying to chain block through effects. Boral Sword will help us push for some games. IP Masquerena lets us play during our opponent's main phase and makes our monster indestructible by card effects. The Nightmares are simple. Again, Cerberus is going to discard a card to destroy a special summon monster, Phoenix to destroy a back row, and Unicorn will send one of their cards back to their deck. Predaplant Verde Anaconda should be one of our first plays on Link 2. Any 2 effect monsters. This will allow you to normally target a face-up monster on the field, change it to Dark Attribute until the end of the turn. What we're going to do is pay the 2,000 life points, send the Fusion or Polymerization normal quick play, so we're going to send Red Eyes Fusion. From the deck to the graveyard, the effect becomes the spell's effect, and then after that, we cannot special summon monsters for the remainder of this turn, and that's fine. All we're going to do is just work it out, go into Dragoon, and go into Control. And last, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, the Link 5 that we play, 4+ effect monsters. Realistically, we're going to be using 3 of our own. 2 points will be our IP Masquerena, 1 will be a monster on our opponent's side, and then we just need the additional 2 to make the minimum of 4. You can also use 1 monster that your opponent controls as material to link summon this card. If this card is link summoned, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. The link summoned card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects unless they target this card. And once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that special summons monsters from the graveyard, you can negate the activation. So, not terrible. I think it's a little bit pricey. Again, if there's some cards in here that you guys can't afford, substitute out. If you can't play the Dragoon portion of the deck, that's going to free up 2 spots here, 3 spots here, at which point you could just drop those 3 cards, maybe add 2 Ash Blossoms or whatever you like. Effect Veilers are good. You can stop monster effects that way. There's plenty of ways to budget this down if you wanted to, but this is what my teammate's playing right now, and we like it enough to show you guys. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed this. And we will see you guys next time with the combo video. And again, I may wait till tomorrow to let that one go live. So see you then.